Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is R.S. Raghu, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring to you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses Summit for Democracy through video conferencing. Says India is the fastest growing major economy despite many global challenges. Second G20 Environment and Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting concludes at Gandhinagar in Gujarat. Member countries reaffirm their commitment towards combating environment and climate crisis with a renewed sense of urgency. Terrorism in all forms and its financing amongst most serious threats to global peace, says India at NSA meeting of SCO countries. Indian Army Chief General Manoj Pandey asserts that India and Africa are committed to peace, stability and security in the world. And in Madrid Masters Badminton, Kidambi Srikanth, Sai Praneeth, PV Sindhu and Akarshi Kashyap advanced to singles second round of tournament. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that India is the fastest growing major economy today despite many global challenges. He said, this itself says that democracy can deliver. Addressing the Summit for Democracy through video conferencing on Wednesday, Mr. Modi said, democracy is based on the belief that the needs and aspirations of every human being are equally important. He said, democracy is not just a structure, it is also a spirit. The Prime Minister said the idea of elected leaders was a common feature in ancient India long before the rest of the world.
Democracy is not just a structure, it is also a spirit. It is based on the belief that the needs and aspirations of every human being are equally important. That is why in India, our guiding philosophy is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, meaning striving together for inclusive growth. Whether it is our effort to fight climate change through lifestyle changes, to conserve water through distributed storage, or provide clean cooking fuel to everyone. Every initiative is powered by the collective efforts of the citizens of India.
Mr. Modi said, in the ancient epic Mahabharata, the first duty of citizens is described as choosing their own leader. Mr. Modi said, the sacred Veda speak of political power being exercised by broad-based consultative bodies. He said, there are also many historical references to republic states in ancient India where the rulers were not hereditary. Mr. Modi said, India is indeed the mother of democracy. The Prime Minister said, in India, the guiding philosophy is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, which means striving together for inclusive growth. Mr. Modi said, India's Vaccine Maitri initiative shared millions of vaccines with the world. He said, during COVID-19, India's response was people-driven. The Prime Minister said, Indian citizens made it possible to administer 2 billion doses of made-in-India vaccine.
During COVID-19, India's response was people-driven. It is they who made it possible to administer over 2 billion doses of made-in-India vaccines. Our Vaccine Maitri initiative shared millions of vaccines with the world. This was also guided by the democratic spirit of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has lauded the people of India for achieving over $750 billion exports in the 75th year of India's independence. Sharing a tweet by Union Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal, Mr. Modi said, this is the spirit which will make India Atmanirbhar in the times to come. Prime Minister complimented the people of the country for this feat. The second G20 Environment and Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting concluded with G20 member countries reaffirming their commitment towards combating the environment and climate crisis with a renewed sense of urgency. The three-day meeting began on Monday at Gandhinagar in Gujarat. The third and final day of the meeting had a special address by the Union Minister of State for Railways and Textiles, Darshana Vikram Jardosh. In her address, she acknowledged the efforts of the G20 countries with a comprehensive approach to address climate change. Addressing media at Gandhinagar, Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Leena Nandan said that the second Environment and Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting witnessed overwhelming participation from the G20 countries. Over 130 delegates participated in the meeting held at Gandhinagar in Gujarat. She said on the first day, the delegates shared their best practices on water resource management. They were also taken to the site visit of Adalaj Bav and Sabarmati Siphon to know about India's traditional water management system and modern initiatives of water conservation and its sustainable use. Ms. Nandan also informed that extensive discussion took place on three themes, which are land degradation and ecosystem restoration, oceans and blue economy, and resource efficiency and circular economy during the meeting. She added that the aim of the circular economy is to reduce, reuse, and recycle our resources. The first G20 Disaster Risk Reduction Working Group meeting under India's G20 presidency will begin at Gandhinagar in Gujarat from Thursday. Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister Dr. P.K. Mishra and Minister of State for Communication Devu Singh Chauhan will inaugurate the meeting. Addressing the media at Gandhinagar, Member Secretary of National Disaster Management Authority Kamal Kishore said that 5 priority areas have been identified for the meeting, which include an early warning for all, resilient infrastructure, and improving the national system for financing disaster risk reduction. Our correspondent reports that the occasion serves as a resounding call to action for the global community to come together and pave the path towards a future which is fortified against the devastation caused by the disaster.
Around 100 delegates from the G20 member countries, invitee countries and from 9 international organizations are participating in the 3-day event. During the meeting, 2 side events are planned on early warning system and disaster resilient infrastructure. On the 3rd day of the meeting, the participating delegates will be taken on a field visit to Smritivan Earthquake Memorial and Museum at Bhuj. The event also provides an opportunity to the delegates to get a glimpse of cultural heritage of Gujarat. Anand Kumar for AIR News, Ahmedabad.
The second G20 Sherpa meeting under India's G20 presidency is all set to kick off at the picturesque Kumarakom village in Kerala's Kottayam district on Thursday. Over 120 delegates drawn from G20 member nations, representatives of 9 invitee countries and various international and regional organizations will attend the 4-day event, chaired by India's G20 Sherpa Amitabh Kant. The multilateral discussions at the meeting will focus on G20's economic and developmental priorities as well as contemporary global challenges. The first Trade and Investment Working Group TIWG meeting was inaugurated by the Union Minister of State for Finance Dr. Bhagwat Kishan Rao Karad in Mumbai on Wednesday. Around 100 delegates from G20 member countries, invitee countries, regional groupings and international organizations participated in the G20 TIWG inaugural event. And now in today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on G20 Trade and Investment Working Group meeting.
India's G20 presidency, first Trade Investment Working Group meeting. The first Trade Investment Working Group meeting under India's G20 presidency is underway in the financial capital of Mumbai from 28th to 30th March 2023. During this 3-day meeting, over 100 delegates from G20 member countries, invitee countries, regional groupings and international organizations are engaging in deliberations to accelerate global trade and investments. On the first day, on 28th of March, an international conference on trade finance was held. The role of banks, financial institutions and export credit agencies in closing the trade finance gap and how digitalization and fintech solutions can improve access to trade finance were discussed through 2 panel discussions. Eminent speakers from India and abroad were invited to deliberate and provide concrete solutions for mitigating the growing trade finance gap. All the speakers in the conference highlighted the necessity of trade for ensuring prosperity for all and accepted that inclusive trade finance is key to achieve this target. Digitalization of international trade is possibly an effective solution towards achieving cost reduction in trade and trade finance. The challenges to be addressed in digitalizing trade were also identified. It is estimated that the traditional trade finance gap is currently around $2 trillion. Bridging the gap needs more players, including multilateral development banks, export credit agencies, to increase their participation. The evolution of fintechs and account aggregators in the ecosystem enables transaction risk evaluation based on real-time data. This will enable cost-effective appraisal by trade finance providers. The panelists recommended that all nations should endeavor to adopt enabling legislation in the next few years to achieve paperless international trade. The G20 delegates also had a guided tour of Bharat Diamond Bourse to witness firsthand the diamond industry's potential and role in the global economy. The Indian diamond industry is the world leader in cut and polished diamonds, exporting $23 billion annually. India exports diamond and diamond-studded jewelry to the entire world, including the United States, Europe, the Middle East, Asia. Today, with continued support, guidance, and pragmatic trade-friendly policies by the government, India has attained a leadership position in several gem and jewelry verticals globally. The gem and jewelry exports account a staggering 10% to overall merchandise exports from the country. It is worth noting that the industry consists of more than 85% micro, small and medium enterprises players, further highlighting its importance to the country's economy. The priorities related to global trade and investment, which the Indian presidency is pursuing, are being discussed across 4 technical closed-door sessions. The focus of the deliberations is on making trade work for growth and prosperity and building resilient global value chains. The emphasis is on achieving shared outcomes for making growth inclusive and resilient, increasing the participation of developing countries and the global south in global value chains, and building resilient global value chains to withstand future shocks. On 30th of March, the Trade Investment Working Group priorities on integrating MSMEs in global trade and building efficient logistics for trade is to be discussed during the 2 working sessions. The Indian presidency aims to carry forward the work done by past G20 presidencies to better integrate MSMEs into global trade, considering their primacy in sustaining livelihoods in both the developed and developing countries. The G20 delegates will also discuss the ways of developing robust logistics infrastructure that could reduce transaction costs both across borders and in the hinterlands. The aim under India's G20 presidency is to build a shared understanding of the challenges being faced in accelerating global trade and investment and how existing opportunities can be harnessed to formulate human-centric concrete outcomes and deliverables. The objective of the meeting is also to focus on how existing opportunities can be harnessed for the benefit of humanity, following the motto of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future, and find common solutions.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news. India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval has said terrorism in all its forms and its financing are the most serious threats to international peace and security. He said any act of terrorism, regardless of its motivation, is unjustifiable. Mr. Doval said this while chairing the meeting of the National Security Advisors (NSAs) of member countries of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization (SCO) in New Delhi on Wednesday.
Terrorism in all its forms and manifestations and its financing are amongst the most serious threats to international peace and security. Any act of terrorism, regardless of its motivation, is unjustifiable. It is important, therefore, for all countries to fulfill the obligations enshrined in the relevant counter-terrorism cooperation protocols, including UN Security Council Resolutions 1267, 1373, and successor resolutions for the purpose of identifying and implementing sanctions against global terrorist entities.
Mr. Doval said that India is committed to fulfilling its obligations under the International North-South Transport Corridor (INSTC) and inclusion of Chabahar Port within the framework of INSTC. The meeting was attended in person by several high-level delegates from the Central Asian countries. The SCO comprises China, India, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Pakistan, Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. Officer trainees of Indian Information Service batches 2018 to 2022 and probationers of Indian Naval Armament Service called on President Draupadi Murmu at Rashtrapati Bhavan in New Delhi on Wednesday. Addressing officers of the Indian Information Service, the President said, communication is a crucial factor in making citizens aware of government policies, programs and their functioning. She said, through effective communication and correct information, IIS officers can be instrumental in making citizens informed partners in the progress of the country. Addressing the officers of the Indian Naval Armament Service, the President said that they have to play a significant role in providing an efficient and safe armament logistics delivery system to both the Indian Navy and Indian Coast Guard. She said that with advancements in technology and the introduction of state-of-the-art weapons, they must strive for innovation to achieve the goals of indigenization. The President advised officers to always remember that their positions are of great responsibility and accountability. Indian Army Chief General Manoj Pandey has asserted that India and Africa are committed to peace, stability and security in the world. He was speaking at the conclusion of the joint India-Africa exercise AFINDEX 2023 in Pune on Wednesday. The AFINDEX 2023 training exercise involved troops and representatives from Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Lesotho, Niger, Seychelles, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, Botswana, Cameroon, Congo, Egypt, Eswatini, Malawi, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, Zimbabwe and Morocco. The joint exercise is a part of India's efforts to maintain greater engagement with Africa after the 2008 India-Africa Summit. Proceedings of both houses of Indian Parliament have been marred by disruptions over the Joint Parliamentary Committee probe into the Adani Group matter and other issues on Wednesday. This is the 12th consecutive day of the second leg of the budget session when both houses of Parliament witnessed a logjam. Amid the ruckus, the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha were adjourned for the day. The two houses will meet again on the 3rd of next month. Voting for Karnataka Assembly elections will take place on the 10th of May in a single phase. Announcing the election schedule in New Delhi, Chief Election Commissioner Rajiv Kumar said the term of the 224-member Karnataka Assembly will end on May 24th. The Chief Election Commissioner said Commission is committed to holding free and fair elections in Karnataka and preparations for the same are almost complete. He said this time the Commission laid a special focus on young voters, women, transgenders and vulnerable tribal groups. The first-time voters in the state are over 9 lakh. Out of 224 assembly seats, 36 seats are reserved for SC and 15 seats for STs. The Election Commission also announced the dates for by-poll to Lok Sabha and assembly seats today. The by-polls will be held simultaneously with Karnataka elections. The National Company Law Appellate NCLAT upheld the Competition Commission of India's CCI Android dominance order against Google. The tribunal has upheld the penalty of 1,338 crore rupees imposed by CCI. The CCI had last year on October 20th imposed a fine on Google for anti-competitive practices in relation to Android mobile devices. Google challenged this ruling before the NCLAT, which is an appellate authority over the orders passed by the CCI. The Antitrust Appellate Tribunal has held that the CCI's orders does not suffer from any confirmation bias. Saudi Arabia's cabinet has approved to join the Shanghai Cooperation Organization SCO. According to state news agency, Riyadh also approved a memorandum of granting the kingdom the status of a dialogue partner in the SCO. Last year, Iran signed the necessary paperwork to become a full member. The topic of joining the SCO came up during Chinese President Xi Jinping's trip to Saudi Arabia in December. China has threatened resolute countermeasures in response to a scheduled meeting between Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen and U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in Los Angeles. At a press conference, Zhu Fenglian, the spokesperson for China's Cabinet Taiwan Affairs Office, criticized Tsai's stopover on her way to diplomatic allies in Central America and requested that no U.S. officials meet with her. Tensions between Beijing and Washington over trade, human rights, and U.S. backing for Taiwan have increased. The death toll of Bangladesh nationals from Monday's bus crash in Saudi Arabia has risen to 13. The bus carrying pilgrims met with an accident in the Abha district of Aceh province. Close to 24 people were injured when the bus they were travelling in hit a bridge, overturned, and caught fire, leading to deaths and injuries. A total of 25 people were killed in the accident, out of which 13 have been identified as Bangladesh nationals, while 4 migrants are still missing. Expressing grief at the accident, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs MOFA of Bangladesh said that a total of 47 pilgrims were travelling to the holy city of Makkah when the accident took place. 35 people on the bus were migrants from Bangladesh workers. The National League for Democracy NLD, led by ousted State Councillor of Myanmar Aung San Suu Kyi, has been deregistered as a political party after it failed to register under the stringent political parties registration law imposed by the military government of Myanmar. The last date for registration of political parties at the union level and at the region level ended on Monday. In a broadcast on Tuesday, the government-run media Myawadi TV announced that 40 political parties were dissolved as they failed to register with the Union Election Commission of the military government of Myanmar. Ram Navami will be celebrated with religious fervor and enthusiasm in different parts of India on Thursday. The festival marks the birth of Lord Ram, the 7th incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Ram Navami is celebrated on the 9th day of the Chaitra month. President Draupadi Murmu has extended her greetings to the fellow citizens on the eve of Ram Navami. In a message, the President said that celebrated as the birth anniversary of Lord Ram, the festival teaches the message of selfless service. She added, it inspires people to follow the path of love, compassion, humanity, and sacrifice. The key domestic share markets on Wednesday closed with gains of more than 0.5%. The Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange closed above 57,950 points, while the Nifty at the National Stock Exchange ended above the 17,050 points. Both indices climbed amid positive global cues. A report from the Business Desk.
The Sensex rose 346 points or 0.6% to finish at 57,960. The Nifty also settled 129 points or 0.76% up at 17,081. Asian markets logged gains except China's Shanghai Composite, which slipped marginally by 0.2%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng gained 2% and Japan's Nikkei 225 rose 1.3%. South Korea's Kospi climbed 0.4% and Singapore's Straits Times was up 0.2%. European markets were trading up in intraday trade. Oil prices rose more than 0.5% in intraday trade. Brent crude was trading at around $79.30 per barrel. Back home, gold prices at the multi-commodity exchange for April contracts were trading at around 59,025 rupees per 10 grams. Silver was trading at around 70,480 rupees per kilogram for May contracts. In the forex market, the rupee today closed at 82 rupees and 34 paise against the US dollar. Gaurang Lal for World News, All India Radio.
In Madrid Masters Badminton 2023, India's star shuttlers PV Sindhu, Kidambi Shrikant, Sai Praneeth, Kiran George and Priyanshu Rajwat, Akarshi Kashyap, Ashmita Chaliha and Malvika Bansod have advanced to the singles second round. Sindhu defeated Janjira Standelman of Switzerland 21-10, 21-14 in the first round of women's singles. Shrikant beat Sithikom Thamasin of Thailand 21-11, 25-27, 23-21, while Praneeth ousted Jan Luda of Czech Republic 21-16, 18-21, 21-12 in the first round. Kiran George defeated his compatriot Mithun Manjunath 21-16, 21-14 to enter the second round. Akarshi Kashyap also made it to the second round, defeating 6th seed Michelle Lee of Canada 12-21, 21-15, 21-18 in the first round of women's singles. Ashmita Chaliha beat Léonie Hue of France 21-12, 22-20 in the first round. Malvika Bansod defeated Kisona Selvadurai of Malaysia 21-19, 16-21, 21-9 in the first round. Priyanshu Rajwat, after 2 wins in the qualifying round, also advanced to the next round, defeating Victor Svensson of Denmark 18-21, 21-16, 21-11 in the first round. The men's doubles duo of Mr. Arjun and Dhruv Kapila, who started directly in the main draw, too advanced to the next round. The pair defeated Scotland's Christopher Grimley and Matthew Grimley 16-21, 21-17, 21-12. In the main round of women's doubles, N. Sikki Reddy progressed to the round of 16 along with Arati Sara Sunil. The Indian duo lost the first game but mounted a comeback to win the match 16-21, 21-18, 21-11. Meanwhile, women's doubles pair Trisha Jolie and Gayatri Gopichan have lost the first round contest against Japan's pair of Rina Miyawara and Ayako Sakuramoto. Swiss Openers winners Satvik Sairaj Rangireddy and Chirag Shetty have pulled out of the tournament. They were in action in the first round against Japan's Ayato Endo and Yuta Taki. However, soon after entering the mid-game interval trailing 9-11, the Indian pair withdrew from the tournament. Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian writes, Europe's human rights watchdog warns UK over illegal migration bill. The Washington Post reports, deadly storm in Mississippi has raised questions about warning systems in poor rural communities. Wall Street Journal writes, Saudi Arabia strengthens relations with China amid strained US ties. The New York Times writes, FDA approved Narcan, a nasal spray that reverses opioid overdoses for the over-the-counter sales. Financial Times writes, China threatens Taiwan over president's trip to US. The Straits Times reports, WHO to consider adding obesity drugs to its essential medicines list. And the Business Recorder writes, IAEA chief arrives at Ukraine nuclear plant held by Russia. Now a quick look at the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses Summit for Democracy through video conferencing, says India is the fastest growing major economy despite many global challenges. Second G20 Environment and Climate Sustainability Working Group meeting concludes at Gandhinagar in Gujarat. Member countries reaffirm their commitment towards combating environment and climate crisis with renewed sense of urgency. Terrorism in all forms and its financing amongst most serious threats to global peace, says India at NSA meeting of SCO countries. Indian Army Chief General Manoj Pandey asserts that India and Africa are committed to peace, stability and security in the world. And in Madrid Masters Badminton, Kidambi Shrikant, Sai Praneeth, PV Sindhu and Akarshi Kashyap advanced to singles round of the tournament. And now before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav by artists from Sri Lanka.
Vaishnav Jan to tere kahiye je veer parai jaane re par dukh ke upkar kare to ye man abhiman naane re Vaishnav Jan to tere कहिए जे पीर पराई जाने रे सकल लोक माय सहुरे वंदे निंदा न करे गेरी रे काच काच मन.
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.